Hi everybody, here's Patricia Papadaki and Justyna Kaletka, speaking to you from Paris and Stockholm, and we would like to talk to you about organizational consequences of using information technology. We read an article by Wanda J. Orlikowski and Daniel Roby, where the authors propose a special framework of thinking about information technology, where it can be described both as a phenomenon that affects material and social aspects of organizations. Through this approach with dual nature of information technology, we can see that IT is both developed by people, but also affects how people interact with each other and behave in an organization. This perspective helps in opening up new research areas where we can use both quantitative and qualitative methods to study development and use of IT in the organizations. And inspired by this article, we chose 5 different research areas that are interesting for organizational informatics. The first area that we find really interesting is how information technology affects organizational culture. Why is it important? We know that through IT use in the organizations, people start working and behaving differently in the workplace. But what are the effects of technology for culture? Examples of detailed research topics could be how the technology development affects organizational values and beliefs. Are we seeing a shift towards higher speed and accuracy, or is it introducing more customer focus for organizations? Additionally, are there any new organizational artifacts that are created using information technology? And what are those artifacts and how they affect the company culture? So that's the area number 1. Area number 2 is institutionalization of information technology in the workplace. Why is it important? We think that research into how people perceive information technology and different systems could help improve system development and system management activities. We would also like to see how to deal with cases where systems are unavailable and people need to have a continuity plan to fall back to. Examples of detailed research topics could be how social interactions in companies change after introduction of a new IT system, and how people and groups perform activities when a system is unavailable. What is the perceived trust in the IT system when it's not available? So those are the first 2 areas. Now Patricia will talk about area number 3.
So the area number 3 that we believe is quite interesting is to see what is the connection between organizational actors and system development. So the organizational actors are actually the ones that design, program, and create meaning in the systems that are developed. So depending on their motivation, their knowledge, their background, we will receive a different result. And at the same time, we have to remember that it's actually the people in the organizations that are the ones that are going to use the system. So to reach a high value, people have to appreciate the system and actually use it. Because when people value or find something that is worth, at the same time, the system gets meaning and reaches a high value. So some different kind of research topics that we find interesting to be analyzed for the future is how can we ensure that this process of system development is done successfully, and maybe which kind of tools they can be used, and at the same time to see which kind of different actors appear during the system development. So we will pass now to the area number 4. And the area number 4 is about what are the consequences of technology in human interaction and actions in an organization. So we have seen so many studies that are analyzing and studying about how technology is impacting everyday life. If there are some disadvantages or advantages, does it help us or does it take us a step back? but there are not enough studies to see the consequences in human interaction and their actions in the organization. And as we said before, we saw how big the role of humans are during the system development. So of course, it's some part that is very important to consider. And some of the research future topics that we have found is to see if technology is having some impact on people, and if to see if they're making their decisions differently, and if it changed the way they work. And at the same time, how can we adapt the traditional processes that existed in the past to these changes of technology, and how the communication within the organization is impacted.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Now we're moved to area number 5. What are the best methods to increase system adoption in organizations? It's important because system development can be very costly. We are talking hundreds of thousands or millions of euro for larger implementation projects, and a lot of companies and a lot of people are interested into how affect the success of a project and the adoption of a system in organization. And examples of detailed research topics in this area could be: what are the best techniques to increase user adoption and why are they working? We would also like to think about how to deal with a system that has been implemented but people don't want to use. And finally, in larger organizations, a big problem can be the fact that there's a lot of legacy systems being used, and we would like to think about approaching shutting down of legacy systems. Now, Patricia, if you could maybe do a quick summary and our reflections.
Of course. So to sum up everything that we mentioned before, we have focused on the social and organizational consequences for a company that have to deal with all the technological changes that are happening today, both in the informational systems and information technology. So we believe to reach the highest value is to have a combination in research in the areas of informatics, psychology, sociology, ethnography, and business studies. And we have to have in focus that since the information systems are such a big and crucial element in the organizations today and in all the modern companies, we believe that it's very important to think that the applications of the research in this area is meant to be to help the organization develop, but at the same time manage their technological landscape. So this is all from us. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.